Hello, my dear friends. So in this lesson, we will learn the logic of if statements in Python and how we're going to use it. So let's start. So whenever Python programs start to run, our codes are executed one by one, starting from above, and the program ends when it runs out of code. However, not every program in Python may be that simple. Most of the time, our Python programs are made up of specific blocks which do not always have to work. So how are these blocks defined? So in Python, a block is defined by indents. Python relies on indentation, using whitespace, to define scope in the code. Other programming languages often use curly brackets for this purpose. Great, so now it's time to learn conditional situations that will take us, to a more advanced level in Python. I mentioned earlier, decision-making is an anticipation of conditions occurring while executing the program and specifying actions that it should take according to whatever those conditions are. Decision structures evaluate multiple expressions, which produce true or false as the outcome. So we need to determine which action to take and which statements to execute if the outcome is true or if it's false. So the following is the general form of a typical decision-making structure found in most of the programming languages. So these conditions can be used in several ways, most commonly in if statements and loops. The Python programming language assumes any non-zero and non-null values to be true, and if it's either zero or null, then it is assumed to be false. Now let's look at the decision-making statements in Python. The if statement contains a logical expression comparing data, and then a decision is made based on the result of that comparison. So if a Boolean expression evaluates to be true, then the block of statements inside the if statement is executed. If a Boolean expression evaluates to be false, then the first set of code after the end of the if statement is executed. So I'll give you some examples so that we can understand it better. Create a variable named age and ask for the value to be entered by the user. If age is under 21, print, "You can't enter this place." So now, if the user entered value is less than 21, the program returns us, "You can't enter this place." But if the user entered value is equal to or greater than 21, the program returns us nothing because we didn't mention it, right? Now let's create another variable named number and ask again for the value to be entered by the user. If number is less than 0, print negative. Now, if the user entered value is less than 0, the program returns negative. But if the user entered value is equal or greater than 0, the program returns us nothing because we didn't mention it. Great. So as you can see, we do need more information to make the program functional. We need to know the else statement. So an else statement can be combined with an if statement. An else statement contains the block of code that executes if the conditional expression in the statement resolves to 0 or a false value. So I'll show you some examples for some better understanding. Create a variable named age and ask for the value to be entered by the user again. If age is less than 21, print, "You can't enter this place." else print welcome. Now, if the user entered value is less than 21, the program returns to us, you can't enter this place. But if the user entered value is equal to or greater than 21, the program returns to us, welcome. Great, so now let's create another variable named number, and we'll ask for the value to be entered by the user again. If number is less than 0, print negative, else print positive. Now, if the user entered value is less than 0, the program returns to us negative. But if the user entered value is equal to or greater than 0, then the program returns to us positive. So the else statement is an optional statement, and there could be at most only one else statement following if, right? Else print hello. As you can see, Python returns us an error because an else statement always needs an if statement to precede it. So the elif statement allows us to check multiple expressions for true and then execute a block of code as soon as one of those conditions evaluates to be true. So similar to the else, the elif statement is optional. However, unlike else, for which there can be at most one statement, there can be an arbitrary number of elif statements following an if. I'll show you some examples. Let's create a variable named model and ask for the value to be entered by the user. If model equals 1, print you choose Rolls-Royce. Elif model equals 2, print you choose Aston Martin. Elif model 3, print you choose Bentley. Else print invalid number. And what you see here is if the user entered value is 1 to 3, then the program will return us a value of 1 to 3. If it is not, then the program will return us invalid number. Now, there's no need to use an else pattern in the programs. Our code will work without the else block. However, if an incorrect action is entered in this case, then we will see that nothing is written on the screen. So, using the else block is entirely up to us. So let's write the previous example again without the else statement and see what happens. And as you can see, if the user entered value is in the range of 1 to 3, the program will return us one of these 3 values. If it is not, the program will return us nothing. So using the else block is entirely up to you, right? You see that. It's for you. Gift. Anyway, elif blocks cannot be written unless the if condition is written. So that means that usage in Python is going to cause an error. So let's try it. So in this lesson, we've learned the basics that we need to know about using if statements in Python. See you in the next lesson.